Put your right hand over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let the record reflect that all cabinet is here except for Scott Bailey, who is on vacation, and all board members are present either in person or telephonically. Oh, and Laura Fisher is not here either. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda of the June 22nd, 2021 board meeting?
So move, Linda Porras.
By Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
By Tricia Pierce. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Is there any, oh, there is changes to the agenda tonight?
This is just the readout that you have to do for this agenda item.
For the what?
For this agenda item, this is just a readout that needs to be done.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. Okay, California Government Code, section 54953, sub C, sub 3, requires an oral summary of a recommendation for a final action on the salaries, salary schedules, and compensation to be paid in the form of fringe benefits to be paid to a local agency executive. Agenda items 29.2, 29.3, and 30.3 recommends approval of an amendment to the employment agreement for each of the district's assistant superintendents. The amendments are attached to the board agenda. Each amendment provides a salary increase in the amount of 0.5% effective May 1, 2021. This is the same percentage increase provided to DSTA and management. Each amendment also provides for a contract extension through June 30th, 2024. Agenda item 30.2 recommends the approval of an amendment to the salary schedule of the Assistant Superintendent Business Services. The amended salary schedule is attached to the board agenda. The amendment increases the prior salary amount by 0.5% effective May 1st, 2021. This is the same percentage increase provided to DSTA and management. Agenda item 29.4 recommends approval of an amendment to an employment agreement for the superintendent. The amendment is attached to the board agenda. The amendment provides a salary increase in the amount of 0.5% effective May 1st, 2021. This is the same percentage increase provided to DSTA and management. The amendment allows the superintendent to carry over 46 vacation days instead of 40 due to the difficulty in taking vacation because of the pandemic. Additionally, because the superintendent was not in CalSTR's system prior to 2013, he receives a lesser employee contribution to CalSTR's than would otherwise be the case. The superintendent's employment agreement includes language which offsets this reduction by directing the same amount to the superintendent's 403B retirement account. Based on the formula in the superintendent's existing employment agreement, the amendment identifies the amount of the 403B contribution for the 2021-22 school year, which is $22,336. Are there any more changes to the meeting's agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with those changes, is there a motion to approve the board agenda? By Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
By Tricia Pierce. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended by that readout, say aye.
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 All those opposed? That carries 5-0. Community staff student recognition.
Thank you very much. We will have Ms. Mary Perry, our District Public Information Officer, approach the podium for public recognition.
Thank you very much. And as you can see, I brought someone with me who's familiar to all of you.
So I'm sure you remember Angela Torres, who was our Shadow Hills High School student board member this year. And she has joined me as my intern for an undetermined amount of time, as she'll be going to college locally, majoring in communications at Cal State. So welcome, Angela. I have two honors, I guess, that we'll give out tonight. The first one is that, once again, we have students who've been recognized for their very thoughtful artwork. Art teacher Lauren Shibata at Desert Ridge Academy shared that 3 of her students were named finalists in the Riverside County Office of Education's Fine Arts Spectacular. The theme for the competition was Embrace the Chaos. And I think you'll agree that these 3 paintings that are being shown on the screen really capture the theme perfectly. So congratulations to Skyla Archer, Alana Ellsworth, and Taylor Boyles. Thank you. And it's been a busy summer at Desert Ridge, because the other honor that I'm going to read out tonight is about the cadets and the middle school cadet program at DRA. The students spent 2 weeks at the Cal Guard Camp San Luis Obispo, and this is the 2nd year for the DRA program, as you know, and they had 38 rostered cadets this year. And the summer camp is all about leadership training, so special congratulations to the 4 following cadets. Cadet 2nd Lieutenant Nathaniel Sousa, who graduated as a drill instructor. Nathaniel will soon be a freshman at Shadow Hills. Cadet Sergeant Gabriel Gout will also be attending Shadow Hills this year, and he received expert certification in marksmanship. Cadet Corporal Joey Gomez also leaves DRA behind to become a knight, and he was a distinguished graduate of the program. Finally, Cadet Corporal Desmond Ledford will be in the 7th grade at DRA in August, and he will be the commanding officer of the DRA battalion and was named an honor cadet. Thank you very much.
Introduction of new or recently promoted employees.
We do, and before we start, I just want to welcome Dr. Joseph Hyde, our new Assistant Superintendent of Personnel Services, and he'll be making those introductions.
Thank you so much. Good evening. I am honored to introduce a number of individuals recently appointed to management positions within the district. I'd like to start with, and I say I'm very pleased to introduce Deborah Dolan, the new principal at Palm Desert Charter Middle School. I'm just going to say a few words about Ms. Dolan. Ms. Dolan has spent her childhood as a Desert Sands student who attended Hoover, Kennedy, and Lincoln Elementary Schools, Palm Desert Middle School, and graduated from Indio High School. She holds a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of California, San Diego, and later earned a master's degree in educational administration from Cal State San Bernardino. Ms. Dolan has been an educator for the last 35 years. The first part of her career was spent at Marywood Country Day School teaching math, science, and computers. In 2004, Ms. Dolan was offered a position at La Quinta High School as a science teacher, where she taught biology and chemistry. In addition to teaching at La Quinta High School, Mrs. Dolan was the International Baccalaureate Middle School Program Coordinator for 3 years and the Environmental Club Advisor for 8. In 2014, she moved to Palm Desert Charter Middle School as a middle school program facilitator, successfully coordinating multiple school programs, including the HERO program, an initiative designed to recognize and reward positive Panther behavior. During her tenure at Palm Desert Charter Middle School, Ms. Dolan has taken on the responsibility of coordinating the site's local control and accountability plan, the Learning Opportunity Grant, and the site's emergency plan. In 2018, she was promoted to assistant principal, a position she's held successfully until her recent promotion to principal earlier this month. Ms. Dolan and her husband will be celebrating 43 years of marriage and are blessed with 2 children and their wonderful spouses, as well as 2 adorable grandchildren. She and her family are grateful to be part of this wonderful community and school district. Ms. Dolan, welcome. Congratulations. Please introduce your guest and say a few words.
Thank you so much. I brought tonight some people who are very, very important to me. But first, I want to really thank our esteemed school board and cabinet members. I'm honored and grateful to have this opportunity to serve our community. DSUSD has been a big part of my life. I want to take a second to recognize a handful of mentors and role models who have helped me get to this moment in time. Teachers such as Mrs. McSwan, my second grade teacher at Kennedy School, who introduced my love of reading. Mrs. Flatt at Palm Desert Middle School, who ignited my curiosity to learn. And Mrs. Cofield at Indio High School, who coached our girls softball team to our first DVL championship. Later in my professional career, I was fortunate to work with first-class teachers, such as Donna Machuzik, Susie Thornberry, and Kay Ermansky. It was a gift to learn from all of them. And while teaching at La Quinta High School, I was blessed to work with two extraordinary principals, Donna Salazar and Rebecca Cook, both of whom planted seeds that have led me to my new position. Here at PDCMS, Sally Frazier, Chris Geyer, and Billy Laveau, what can I say? What incredible mentors. They're phenomenal. They have a true passion for students, and it's been such a joy to work with them. I've learned so much from them in the last 6 years. Now, I'm thrilled to work with my team and with this amazing board. I found out today that there are so many people here that I can reach out to who have my back, who are here to help support me, and it is such an incredible and wonderful feeling, and I am so grateful for that. But the rock in my family, in my life, is my husband. I want to thank him for all his support he has given me the last 43 years. I want to thank you for the countless projects you've done at all the school sites to help support me. I finally want to thank my parents who have modeled what it truly means to have a service heart. You are an inspiration and a true gift to all of us. I'm a proud product and component of Desert Sands, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to serve as Palm Desert Charter Middle School's principal. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm pleased to introduce Tiffany Norton, Chief Innovation and Information Officer. Ms. Norton has been with Desert Sands since she started kindergarten. She began her educational career as a classroom teacher at Roosevelt Elementary. During her time in the classroom, she was the first elementary teacher to pilot large format displays in her classroom. Mrs. Norton and her students were included in the filming of a Samsung video, as well as a Desert Sands Unified School District video on closing the achievement gap using technology. Following that career-defining moment, Ms. Norton began her administrative career as an assistant principal, with her time split between Jackson and Lincoln Elementary schools. For the last 4 years, Mrs. Norton has served as the principal at Dr. Carry-On Academy. During her time at Carry-On, she supported the implementation of Avid Elementary school-wide and was honored to work alongside the Carry-On Comet community. Her passion for technology integration in the classroom inspired her to become a Google-certified educator, both levels 1 and 2. She loves inspiring others to think outside of the box and to incorporate research-based instructional strategies and technology within their classroom instruction. Mrs. Norton is honored to join the Technology Department as the Chief Innovation and Information Officer and looks forward to working alongside everyone in the department and throughout the district. Ms. Norton, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
Please introduce your guests and say a few words.
Absolutely. So I'm joined by my husband and my daughter tonight, and I want to take a quick moment to thank the board and cabinet and Superintendent Bailey, who's not here today, for the opportunity. I'd like to say hi to my parents who are watching on YouTube. And while I will truly miss the Comet community, I am thrilled to be the Chief Innovation and Information Officer and work alongside the phenomenal Technology Department and with the Educational Services team to further advance the work around delivering reliable infrastructures, appropriate devices, along with a safe environment for students and their identifiable information, while providing meaningful training for all staff. I would like to thank Mr. Wilhite, Dr. Cook and Superintendent Bailey for their continued support and for being my thought partners over the last couple of years. And a huge thank you to Dr. May Volmer, who helped make this position what it is. I have some big shoes to fill, and I am very excited to do the work. So thank you again for making one of my professional dreams come true. Have a great evening.
All right. I am pleased to introduce Felisa Waynick, our new Director of Risk Management. Ms. Waynick holds an Associate in Risk Management Certificate, as well as a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, finance option from California State University, Long Beach. She is currently a candidate for the Master's in Public Administration, also at the California State University, Long Beach. Her expected graduation date is December 2001. Ms. Waynick began her insurance career with the Chubb Group of insurance companies as a residential property appraiser. She then went on to acquire claims experience as a senior adjuster with both the Chubb Group and Fireman's Fund Insurance Company. Mrs. Waynick then broadened her experience when she was promoted to the position of General Liability Program Manager, handling employment practice litigation and risk management at UCLA. Building on that experience, she went on to provide risk management consulting services to over 40 school districts in California as a senior risk consultant for a joint power authority. She was also a licensed property and casualty insurance agent for 10 years and managed insurance programs for small businesses. Mrs. Waynick comes to our district from California State University, Long Beach, where she spent the last 7 years as the campus risk manager. Mrs. Waynick is happily married to her husband, Bertrand, for 22 years and has 2 sons in college, Justin and Jacob. In her free time, she enjoys reading, walking, volunteering, and spending time with family and friends. Mrs. Waynick, welcome to Desert Sands, and congratulations. Please say a few words.
Thank you for the introduction and the warm welcome. Greetings to the board members. I'm honored to be here this evening, and I'm very excited about the position. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as the Director of Risk Management, and I look forward to being a team member of Desert Sands USD. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, I am pleased to introduce Amy Zink, the new principal of Madison Elementary School. Mrs. Zink earned both her Bachelor of Arts and Master of Arts degrees in curriculum instruction from San Diego State University and her administrative services credential from Chapman University. She began her career in education 28 years ago at Imperial Unified School District. Since then, she has been a gifted and talented education teacher, a teacher on special assignment, assistant principal, and for the last 3 years, the principal of Della Lindley Elementary in Thousand Palms, California. Mrs. Zink is married to Dennis Zink, principal of Palm Desert High School, and is a wonderful addition to the Desert Sands family. Again, welcome. Congratulations, Mrs. Zink. Please introduce your guests and say a few words.
I would like to introduce 2 amazing men in my life, my husband Dennis and my son Daniel, who are my heart and soul and my everything. Hello everyone. I want to start off by saying I'm really excited to be joining the Desert Sands family. Thank you, Mr. Bailey, who's not here tonight, Cabinet, and the Board of Trustees for your trust in giving me the amazing opportunity to lead Madison Elementary. I also would like to thank my husband, Dennis, and my kids, Daniel and Megan, for all their love and support. Thank you again, and I look forward to working with such an amazing Desert Sands team.
Anna Conover, would you like to say any things to our new and recently promoted employees?
I would like to just welcome our new employees and congratulate our recently promoted employees. I expect wonderful things, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Wendy Jonathan?
Sure. Debbie, congratulations. I've known Debbie for a long time and her family as well. And I knew her over at Marywood Country Day School, where she had started her, I think you were vice principal over at Marywood Country Day School, and now you are principal of Palm Desert Charter Middle School, and I can't think of a better person to walk in at this time. I'm so excited for the school and for you. And congratulations, it's well deserved. Tiffany, Dr. Carrion, they're losing an incredible principal, but you're going to do a great job. I see how determined you are, and it's wonderful hearing how you've been so advanced as far as being on the cutting edge of innovation and technology in your career already. So I'm even more excited about seeing what you're going to do in the future. And I'm sure that Kelly feels very confident handing the baton on to you. Felisa, you know, I won't hold it against you that you worked for UCLA. Maybe you want to do some USC stuff along the side as volunteer work while you're with our district. All kidding aside, I think that you're going to do a great job. Your background sounds so impressive, and I think we're very fortunate to have you. And welcome to our family. You're going to do a great job in our district, and you'll find we really do have a great family in Desert Sands. And Amy, from one person who started off in my teaching career in Palm Springs Unified, and I saw the light and I went to the right district, Desert Sands. I'm so glad that you've seen the light and you're coming to Desert Sands as well. We're so excited about having you. I always love the fact that we can sometimes steal away gems from other districts, and you are definitely a gem. And I can't wait to visit you at Madison and watch what wonderful things you're doing. And I'm sure your husband, I can see him on the video sitting next to you. I bet he's full of pride and so excited as well. So we have the Zink family, and I couldn't be happier. So congratulations as well.
Tricia Pierce.
Well, it's hard to beat that. I just want to welcome all the two employees that are moving up from within our Desert Sands, Debbie Dolan and Tiffany Norton, and welcome to Felisa Waynick and Amy Zink to coming to Desert Sands, and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
I know what hasn't been said. Debbie, I'm so excited for you. And I have to say, every time I see you, and I see your name Dolan, I always think of you as an Oliphant, sorry. So it's always hard for, and then I go, it's Debbie Oliphant. So anyway, I've known you like our whole lives, and so excited for you. And I just think you're going to do a phenomenal job. You come from such a wonderful family, and I just know your mom and dad are just like so proud of you. So anyway, I look forward to that. And your husband, what a wonderful person. I almost brought tears to my eyes when you're talking about him. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's awesome for you. And Tiffany, oh my gosh, I'm just like over the moon excited for you. I just know you are going to just do so much. You're so talented and just a phenomenal person, and so proud of you. I've known you since you were a little tiny, so super excited. Felisa. I haven't met you, so I'm so excited to meet you and see you at the district, and congratulations, and I know that you're going to do wonderful things. So anyway, it's so nice to meet you and see your face. Amy, oh my gosh, when I saw that, I thought, is that Dennis's wife, Amy? So I'm super happy for you. I know you are just going to be wonderful. I can't wait to come and visit you, and just very happy for you. And I just wish I could give all of you guys a hug. This is just so great. So congratulations to all of you.
I'd like to congratulate our two employees that are moving up the ladder and getting opportunities to lead. Desert Sands is a great place to be in education, and we do our best as a board and cabinet to provide you the things that you need so you will be successful. I want to welcome our two new employees. The Long Beach thing, I went to Cal State Fullerton, so when I was there, they were our big rivals when we both actually had football teams. So welcome. I think you're going to find the desert a great place. I grew up in the LA Orange County area, and the first time you come down here, the first thing you'll notice is it's super hot. But my wife was an Indio High grad, and you come down to the desert, and this is a great place to raise a family, and it's a great place to be, and I think you're going to find that our environment is welcoming to you, and you'll find great success here. Amy, congratulations. Now we have 2 principals, Zink, so we'll have to be a little bit more specific when we write letters and use your first initials. But it's great to have you here, and I've told Dennis a long time, like, we hired him, and our long-range plan was to get to you. And so everything worked out, and we're happy that you're here, and we're also looking forward to seeing you have great success. So welcome to everybody, and we really are happy that you're here in Desert Sands. We do our best to make it the best place for our employees and our students. So we'll put you number 1, and we'll try to treat you well. Dr. Mae Volmer, would you like to say anything?
Thank you very much. I just want to echo all the congratulations. Definitely very excited for the new opportunities of our existing employees and for our 2 new hires to Desert Sands. Welcome. We are very excited to have you, and definitely look forward to seeing great things from all 4 of you. Congratulations.
Now would be a great time to slip out and go celebrate, but for everybody that wants to stay, we have 5 information items. We have our California School Dashboard Local Indicators that was prepared by Leah Baird. We have the California State Preschool Program Progress Report that was done by Jay Ralliana, our Principal of Early Childhood Education. We have the Head Start Program Report, also by Jay Ralliana, the Principal. We have our Palm Desert High School Going to St. George, Utah, that is presented by Dennis Zink, who just left the building. And then we have our quarterly report, summary on Williams uniform complaints for April through June of 2021. And as usual, we have 0 complaints, so job well done. Staff conference items. Dr. Mae Volmer.
Thank you very much. We have 2 this evening. Our first one, I'm going to have Mr. Kevin Bebo, our Director of College and Career Readiness, will be providing an update on career technical education.
Well, good evening, and thank you for that nice introduction. Thank you to the Board of Education for this opportunity to share a little bit about career and technical education programs in Desert Sands Unified School District. You may have recently read articles posted on the UKIN report and at the Desert Sun about each of the CTE programs that we offer here in DSUSD. This was a collaborative effort between Mary Perry, the site assistant principals, and the CTE teachers themselves. Each article is an overview of what the programs have to offer to our students as they prepare them for post-secondary education leading to a career. One of the most important components of each CTE program is work-based learning opportunities. These can include field trips, job shadows, special projects, internships, pre-apprenticeship. All of these work-based learning opportunities, provide an opportunity for students to work off campus. However, that can create a transportation challenge for some students and families. So tonight, we have an industry partner here who will share how they can help our students overcome that hurdle. But before I introduce them, let me get everyone caught up on our CTE programs. There are new career pathways for 21-22. The Building and Construction Trades program at Amistad High School on the Eisenhower campus is hosting the program in collaboration with College of the Desert, and it's funded through a Strong Workforce grant. We're looking forward to starting classes in August, all of which will be for college credit, and seeing our first cohort of students build our very first tiny home. Other new programs for next school year will be the professional dance, professional music, and professional theater at Palm Desert High School. Mr. Zink, who just left, along with Mrs. Seg and Mr. Kandari and Allison Frenzel of CDE, have created pathways that recognize the career aspirations of artists and focus not just on building their artistic ability, but also on developing their professional resources. These programs will continue to have a focus on high-quality artistic performance and will add in the skills to become a professional dancer, a musician, actor, or director, or backstage crew member. And Shadow Hills is offering an energy, environment, and utilities pathway with a focus on clean energy and renewables. With wind and solar so prevalent here in the Coachella Valley, it's easy to see that this is an outstanding opportunity for our students. These programs will be added to the rest of the CTE programs available through Desert Sands Unified School District. The programs with the asterisks next to them, up on the slide, are California Partnership Academies. The programs with CC after the title include college credit courses. And here are a list of all of our CTE high school courses that we offer currently. This includes introductory courses, concentrator courses, and capstone courses, which in CTE programs, you generally have 2 or 3. And these are our CTE college credit courses, 18 dual enrollment courses and 13 concurrent enrollment courses. The concurrent courses are taught by a college instructor on a DSUSD campus outside the regular bell schedule, and the dual enrollment courses are taught by the high school teacher who also serves as an adjunct professor and embedded into the school day. And here are some numbers I'm very proud of. This is our completer data starting in 2015 and reported here through 2021. You can see each of our currently active programs and the number of students who completed the program and graduated. Please note that not every program started in 2015. As you can see, La Quinta High School's Medical Health Academy and their Public Safety Academy lead the way. As these programs continue to grow and evolve, we look forward to these completer numbers increasing. And here is a sample list of our industry partners. These amazing companies have opened their doors to our CTE students and welcomed them in. Some have provided tours and field trips. Others have provided long-term internships. Some have even hired our students directly out of these CTE programs, and those students are working there today. Our list will continue to grow. In just the past few weeks, Mary Perry, Sean Webb, and I have met with both the City of Indio and the Living Desert to explore work-based opportunities with both groups. And here are just a few comments from our industry partners reflecting the success of our students. For example, the Health Academy curriculum provides the students with the communication, observation, problem-solving, teamwork, and leadership skills that I'm looking for in a future medical and health professional. That's from Bob Camby. And Bob Camby is the Director of Business Development for Avid Physical Therapy and Movement for Life Physical Therapy. He has students in his offices from all 3 school districts across the valley, and he hires them after they graduate. He has been a champion for our programs here across the desert for CTE. However, transportation to and from these great industry partner locations is often a challenge for our students. How do we ensure that every student has equal access to these opportunities? Well, Sunline is here to help. Please welcome CEO and General Manager Lauren Skyver, who will share about a new program for our students.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. As we all know, it's amazing to have these programs and problems, but really we need transportation and mobility options for students to be able to access them. Sunline has been working on that with the Hall Pass program. We've been successful with colleges here in the community. This is not a new thing, it is new to the desert. And it's about time that we have opportunities for transportation for our students, not just to school and school-based activities, but to work, to leisure, and all the other things that come with mobility. So we've started this program back in 2018, and the vision was to give students an opportunity to not be challenged with transportation, but to have regular transportation not only to school, but activities that support their academic career as well. So the background, we got a grant, so we've been running it from a grant, but the colleges are now paying and subsidizing the rides for college students, which gave us some resource, and we really wanted to bring this down to the high school students to allow them to have transportation that's free and available, not just to school, but again, to those other programs that are vital to their entire academic program and their work programs. So the colleges, they are now paying for rides, and so we want to use this available grant funding to bring this down to 9th to 12th graders, so they now will have transportation options. So the success of the program, now there is a finite amount of funding, but we believe we have 12 to 18 months to fund this, and we'll be actively looking for funding partners to continue it. The worst thing we can do is offer free transportation and then have to look for ways to subsidize it, and so we'll actively be working on that. We hope to start and will start on August 1st. I wanted to let you know we have 300 registrants already, half of which come from this district, and we know that more will come as school starts and as activities become available for students and it catches on through social media and some of the other ways that we're advertising it. It is a pilot project because we do have this limited number of funds available, but again, I assure you we'll be actively working with the cities and other partners to see how we can continue funding for transportation for our students. So how it works is we do have an app, but I want to assure you students that don't have a smartphone will have availability through paper passes and other media so that they can participate in the program. We'll be using mobile ticketing, which gives us lots of data about transfers in cities and where we are getting the most usage. This will help us as we look for additional funding in other areas just based on usage and how many students are actually using the program. So I think it's important that we have media for all to participate, and it isn't just strictly required that you have a smartphone in order to use this service. I thank you for your time today. I'm excited about how we can get students to all of these programs to work, to go to school here, go to college here, stay here and work. As a transportation provider, we have lots of jobs. As you guys may know, we have the biggest hydrogen production facility in the United States right on our campus, and we'd love to have some of these students come and see what we're doing in the clean energy space. So I look forward to working with you, Kevin. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Board.
Anna, do you have any questions? Comments?
No, I want to thank you for the presentation. I'm excited to see all the CTE programs that we offer our students. And I want to thank Sunline for implementing the high school Hall Pass program. Thank you.
Wendy?
Yeah, Kevin, thank you so much. A great presentation. I did see the articles from the Yukon report, very thorough. Loved what great information they gave our programs and to the public. I really appreciate that. I have a question, and maybe the Sunline people can answer. Will they be taking them to specific locations that they may need to work at with this Hall Pass, or will it be more like an Uber kind of app where they'll be picked up at the school but then dropped off at a different location? Or is it that there'll be a general spot that they'll be located in, they'll have to walk or get some kind of transportation to their work that they may have through the CTE program with their, where they're getting their work outside of school?
So currently this program will be with our current fixed route network, our local fixed route network. It is important to note that Sunline does run a rideshare. Right now, Hall Pass is not free on our rideshare, but we're looking for money anywhere we can to include that service as part of how we move students and residents of the Coachella Valley. So I think that we'll be looking at utilization. We'll study where students need to go. Routes can be adjusted, stops can be adjusted once we see usage patterns and travel patterns. So we can come back to you later after Kevin and I have worked a little bit on getting this up off the ground to give you more data about where your students are actually going and where they need to go that we may not serve adequately.
Okay. All right, thank you. And I do appreciate you taking the time and doing this for our students. I know that you've reached out and you helped College of the Desert in getting those students initially from Indio to Palm Desert. Now they have an Indio campus, but I know that you were instrumental, so I do appreciate that, and appreciate that you're now reaching out to our our high school students as well. So thank you very much for doing that for our community and our students.
Trish.
Yes, I want to thank you for the presentation, Kevin, and I like this little handout that shows all the different schools and what they all have. I wish these kind of programs had been available 20-some years ago when my boys were in school, because I know they would have definitely gone that path. Also, I want to thank Sunline for supporting the students and their transportation needs. It's just a community partnership that is so crucial for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. This was awesome. I love the fact that we are giving so many opportunities and choices for our students to be able to be successful when they finish school. Is this similar to ROP, or is it replaced ROP?
Well, we don't have the RP programs here with our district. Other districts do.
Okay.
So replace, it's very similar to ROP programs in other districts in that the students do receive career training. A little bit different in that our courses are tied right into they go through our curriculum council. They go through the same process in terms of standards and everything else. They're designed to be both academic and career focused at the same time. And many ROP courses are more lean more towards the career focus and not so much the academic.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, anyway, I think it's awesome. And the Sunbus, you guys are just phenomenal. That's so wonderful that you're doing that for our students. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, I'll repeat those thoughts. Excellent presentation, Mr. Bimo, and big thanks to Sunline for helping us get our students where they need to be so they can be the best that they can be. So really appreciate your help on that. Dr. May Bulmer, do you have any comments?
No, just a thank you, great presentation, and appreciate the partnership. So thank you for being here tonight.
Okay, staff conference item 13.2, Community Facilities District Overview. I see Patrick Cisneros jumping at the bit. So, turn it over to
Mr. Aquino.
Oh, Mr.
Aquino.
He's going to kick Patrick.
Right?
So tonight you will hear a presentation regarding Community Facilities Districts, CFDs, from our special tax consultant, Barbara Hale Carter. Barbara works with Special Districting, Financing, and Administration, also known as SDFA, and assists school districts in the establishment, negotiations, and administration of special community districts. The district currently has 4 existing CFDs and has recently been approached by developers to form new CFDs within our district boundaries. So prior to making any considerations, we would like to provide basic information to the Board of Trustees on what a CFD is, what is its purpose, and afterwards get direction if the board is interested in further analyzing any developer proposals. So, Ms. Carter.
Good evening, board, superintendent, staff. Thank you for the nice introduction. And this is a touch screen. So let me do my best to not touch the screen. Apologize. As just stated, I was invited to give a general overview of CFDs, or Community Facilities District, is their long name. In a few short slides, we're going to overview several topics. What is a CFD? How is it formed? The use of funds collected. From there, we'll overview perceived advantages and disadvantages from the perspective of a school district, from a developer, from a homeowner. And we'll end the presentation by one last time discussing the key reason why school districts use CFDs today, and ending with next steps. It's a lot of information. Please don't hesitate to stop me if I say something that may be confusing. And even if you jot down questions and want to ask staff later, don't mind responding in writing as well. We start off first with what is a CFD? Senator Henry Mello and Assemblyman Mike Roos spearheaded the legislation known as the Mello-Roos Community Facilities District Act that was enacted in 1982. This act came about after Prop 13 was passed, which limited the amount of tax that could be collected by public agencies to 1%, and it limited the value of a property to be increased by 2% annually unless it was resold. That greatly limited the revenue that was brought in to school districts, cities, counties, hospital districts. And what the world was finding is that general obligation bonds were not enough to cover the gap. We couldn't keep asking for the community at large to fund repeated new facilities. What this act does is it provides cities, counties, and special districts, of which a school district is a special district, the ability to form a CFD, and it's over a specific defined area within their jurisdiction. It is a special financial and legal entity formed by the public agency, empowered to levy special taxes, and, if authorized, issue bonds. It requires a 2/3 approval of the registered voters within the CFD. If there are not 12 registered voters, it is a vote by land. 1 acre is 1 vote. They're able to finance public improvements and/or services. And I'm sorry if I'm echoing. Okay. Cities and counties, for example, finance public improvements such as streets, sewer, storm drain. Cities and counties fund public services. As far as I know, school districts can only fund public improvements. At this time, I know no school districts in the state of California that are able to fund services through a CFD. A key element of a CFD is that the capital improvements that it funds must have a useful life of 5 years or longer. An excellent example for a school district is the funding of technology. A CFD can fund the wires in the wall, but it cannot fund the computer on the desk. A long time ago, we used to say that you could fund the shelves in the library, but not the books. Well, we've moved on since then. A local example of a city or a county is the city of Indio. They formed back in 2004, CFD 2004-1, which helps them fund police and fire services. They require annexation to that CFD with new development that comes to the city. We move from here to how is a CFD formed? First, staff comes to the board and asks for the approval to analyze the proposal and develop parameters. This always starts with the landowner providing a deposit to cover the cost of formation. Once those parameters are generally decided upon, the steps to formation take 3 board meetings. At the first, a mitigation agreement is presented to the board for consideration. Following that, resolutions are brought forth to start the formation. Those include the approval of a boundary map, which identifies the area that I just discussed, and it sets a time and a place for a public hearing. The second meeting, we hold a public hearing, the election, which I just discussed, and we bring forth resolutions to finalize the formation, followed by the first reading of an ordinance, and then finally there's a 3rd board meeting for the 2nd reading of the ordinance. Before I move on, once the CFD is formed, there is a notice of special tax recorded against the property within the CFD, which is on the title for every piece of property in the CFD. Later on, you may ask, well, how would I know if I was going to go buy a home if I was in a CFD? You know because it's on the title of the property, and more importantly, that it's statutorily required for every seller, either of a new home or a resale, to get a notice of disclosure signed by the prospective buyer before they enter into the first agreement. It's not when remember when you closed your home, if you own a home and you sign 400 pieces of paper and your hand hurts? It's not at that time. It's at the very beginning before you enter into any contract. You're required to have a notice of disclosure telling you about the tax, what it's for, and the amounts.
And finally, we move on to the use of the special tax funds. The purpose to fund public capital facilities and services is accomplished through the collection or levy of special taxes onto the county property tax bill. They're collected just like your other property taxes, December 10th and April 10th. This slide first addresses when bonds have not been issued. It starts out telling us that once formed, a CFD annually levies special taxes on developed property through the county property tax bill. The key word here is developed property. Developed property means a lot that has a building permit issued. Secondly, funds are provided from the county to the school district, which first pay for annual administrative costs of the CFD. It's not a burden to the general fund. Secondly, the levy can provide funds to be used for authorized uses. Those authorized uses are set at the time of formation, and I kind of overviewed some of them at the beginning. And then finally, bonds may be issued. When they're issued, you pledge the special taxes to the repayment of the bonds. It's a key thing to understand because these bonds are not an obligation of the general fund. The purpose in selling bonds is to give a school district money up front to fund a project. Bonds are typically issued 25 to 30-year maturities, so it will go out for 30 years. The issuance of bonds, just like the formation of a CFD, is going to take a team. This slide mentions a financial advisor, an underwriter, a fiscal agent, that's the bank that holds the monies, bond counsel, disclosure counsel, and a special tax consultant. Bonds require an ongoing compliance with various regulations, such as monitoring delinquencies and reporting on the status of the CFD to bondholders. Many of these same requirements are also taken over by the school district when you issue general obligation bonds. The delinquency portion is not. That's the only difference really in CFD bonds versus a general obligation bonds. The district does not monitor delinquencies for general obligation bonds. Now that we've overviewed what, how, and a little bit of the funding, we move on to perceived advantages and disadvantages. This first slide looks at it from the perspective of the school district. The first advantage is that a CFD burdens the new home with the cost of their facilities impact as opposed to the entire school district. Second, the present value of the annual revenue is always going to be higher than your current level 1 fee. The district would not form a CFD for less than we could collect if they just paid us up front. And finally, the bond issue can provide upfront funding for facilities needs. The possible disadvantages is the ongoing administration. Although funded by the CFD, it is a still task of consultants and staff. There's a potential adverse property owner reaction to special taxes, even though they're disclosed at the time it's sold. And if bonds are issued, again, I'm repeating that the school district covenants to adhere to required regulations. Secondly, we look at the perceived advantages and disadvantages to the builder. The developer has an option. They can fund the required facilities and increase the price of their homes to cover those costs, or they can come to a public agency, city, county, school district, and ask to be included in a community facilities district. In a community facilities district, they're able to access lower interest rates because the financing market for a municipal bond is going to be much lower than the interest rate on a construction loan. It often provides additional or accelerated financing for public facilities that benefit their projects and the homeowners. Possibly, it could be a larger development. They could need all or a portion of an elementary school or an older elementary school revitalized. And if they can go to their potential homeowners and look across the street or explain what it is that their CFD is helping to fund, they love that. The disadvantages is they pay for the formation costs. They have a potential adverse reaction from potential homeowners. And if bonds are issued, they may have to pay an undeveloped land tax to carry that burden because it is not an obligation of the general fund. And finally, we look at it from the homeowner's perspective. The advantages, it should lower the home price as compared to comparable homes. It lowers the down payment required, and often that lower price allows them to qualify for special types of loans. The disadvantages, they may have a higher property tax because now that special tax is part of their line item. They may not understand when they sign things what they're signing for. And if bonds are issued, like I stated, we have to track just delinquencies because it is a covenant when you issue CFD bonds. Our final two slides wrap up the overview. The first is to emphasize the key reasons school districts use CFDs. This pie chart shows us, it's just an illustration, of the current level 1 developer fees and potential state funds do not cover the impact from each new dwelling unit constructed. School districts use CFDs to fund a portion or all of that funding gap. The purpose is to relieve the existing residents and limited facilities dollars from funding the impact from new development. The key term is trying to have growth pay for itself. And finally, we move to next steps. As mentioned, the district has been provided with 2 proposals requesting CFD formation. Staff can pursue to analyze these proposals, or if the board is not interested at this time, the district can obviously not take any actions.
Right, just to reiterate what is being said, so we're asking for direction from the board on whether they want to interest.
Sit down. I don't need to do anything. Yeah, you do.
As I was saying, at this point, what we are asking the board is on direction on whether or not we should entertain the CFD proposals and provide the board with an analysis of what those proposals are. As Ms. Carter was mentioning, we have 2 proposals at this time, one from, I think, Lennar and one from LGI, and we wanted to get the board's direction on whether to entertain that and provide that information to the board for its consideration.
Anna Conover, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Ms. Hale Carter, for the presentation.
Wendy Jonathan?
I want to reiterate what Anna said. I educated myself on CFDs when I first joined the board, and I wish you had been there when I first joined. You made it so much easier than what I did. So thank you for your presentation, and I don't have any questions.
Tricia Pierce?
I too, I've heard of Mello-Roos and all the different taxes in the past, but I was not up to date on what they really are, and I appreciate all the information. I didn't know if the board directs them to look into the CFD proposals. There's a deposit that the school district pays to cover that analysis. Is that what it says?
No, I apologize. The developer puts up a deposit to cover any costs incurred by the school district in review of their proposal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Linda Forts.
I don't have any questions. Thank you so much for the presentation.
I don't have any questions. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So
Excellent presentation, thank you.
So just to reiterate, as a board, I mean, we will provide the board with further information if the board so chooses that of us. So we were just wanted to get some direction on that.
Okay, and you want to right now?
It's just a yes or no. We should do it. Just analyze it for the consideration. There doesn't have to be a yes or no vote. Just to analyze the proposal.
No, yeah, we're just giving direction, like kind of. Anna Conover, would you like the cabinet to look further into these 2 proposals and get information?
Yes, I would.
Wendy Jonathan?
Yes, anytime you have a CFD, I think that it's worth looking into, and it's basically the builder trying to work it out so he can get people to buy the houses, but at the same time not incur as much cost initially. So I would like us to look into it.
Trish Pierce?
I agree also to look into this.
Horace, yes, and me, yes, too. So we'll look into their proposals and do necessary paperwork and then have that brought back for us to look at. Okay. Public hearing, none. COVID, Dr. May Volmer.
Yes, we do have a report for the board this evening. I'll go ahead and start out, and then Mr. Aquino and Dr. Hyde will provide you with some updates as well. I want to provide the board and the general public with an update on two recent assembly bills that were passed. The first one is Assembly Bill 104 that was passed on July 1st. And Section 2 of the bill specifically discusses grading requirements for high school students during the 2020-2021 academic year. And it requires school districts to grant requests from the parent or guardian who has educational rights for the pupil that was enrolled in high school during this time if they want to have the letter grade earned for any course in that school year changed to a pass, no pass, instead of a letter grade. So that's a new allowance under AB 104. So in order to make sure that everyone's aware of this new allowance, we'll be posting the information on our district website on July 28th. High schools will also post the information on their websites on July 29th. And then on July 29th, we'll also send out a school messenger to all students and families of high school students so they're aware of the new change. We'll also be posting something on Super Seconds on July 29th as well. When we send this out, we're going to include a list of universities that are accepting the pass, no pass, because Cal States are currently required to accept it, but universities of California and private post-secondary entities are only encouraged, so they have a choice. So we want to send that list out with the communication so that parents are aware when they're making that choice if the school is going to accept it or not. And certainly out-of-state schools may not accept it as well. So it also outlines that any student that were juniors this current school year, so 2021, or past school year, I guess, or seniors during 2021, and were not on track to graduate, so that's really key, that they're not on track to graduate in 4 years, only have to achieve the state graduation requirement of 130 credits. So that we've already ran the reports and utilized that information for our summer school graduates so that they were able to participate. And we've also run that report looking at juniors for next year if they're in danger of not graduating. So that's the report on Assembly Bill 104. And as I said, we'll be sending all that information out to families so they're fully aware. That'll happen next week. And then Assembly Bill 130 has a few changes specifically as it relates to independent study. So the first change is significant in that the state is requiring that independent study now be for pupils whose health would be at risk for in-person instruction, of course as determined by a parent or guardian. And then in addition to that, California Department of Public Health requires indoor mask wearing in a K-12 setting in their recent guidance, and Mr. Aquino will talk about that a little bit more in his update. But in addition to that, they've allowed that students that don't choose to wear masks or don't wish to wear a mask can enroll in independent study. That is an option the state is making available to them. So other additional changes to independent study is that pupils in transitional kindergarten to grade 3, independent study will have to provide opportunities for daily synchronous instruction. So that's, independent study distance-wise, but synchronous instruction for the entire year. For students in grades 4 through 8, there has to be a plan for daily live interaction and at least weekly synchronous instruction. And for students 9 through 12, at least weekly synchronous instruction during the course of the year. It also requires that pupils that want to transition back out of independent study into a regular school setting can do so immediately. And that is the update on both of those assembly bills. Mr. Aquino.
Regarding face coverings, on July 12, 2021, the California Department of Public Health released the 2021-22 COVID-19 public health guidance for K-12 schools in California. Departing from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, also known as CDC's K-12 schools guidance provided on July 9th, the California Department of Public Health is requiring all K-12 students to wear masks indoors regardless of their vaccination status unless exempt, i.e. medical reasons. The CDPH guidance also requires adults, that is everyone, not just employees, in K-12 schools, regardless if they are vaccinated or not, to wear masks when sharing indoor spaces with students. So that's what we know of right now from the current guidance from California State Public Health. They have on their website a July 12th notification saying that the California Department of Public Health will continue to assess conditions on an ongoing basis and will determine no later than November 1, 2021, whether to update its mask requirement or recommendations. Cal OSHA, on the other hand, which regulates the workplace environment for all our employees, requires unvaccinated employees to wear masks indoors, but does not require vaccinated employees to wear masks indoors, contingent on employers documenting that the employee is vaccinated. However, under Cal OSHA, through guidance from CDPH, or the California Department of Public Health, if an employee is indoors and in the presence of students, then the employee is required to wear a mask. For all outdoor K-12 settings, wearing a mask is optional for employees, students, and adults. That's updates that we recently have received from the California Department of Public Health. Other information, school meals starting next school year. Desert Sands will be providing 2 free school meals during each school day to any student free of charge, regardless if the student is eligible for federally funded free or reduced price meals. So all students next year will receive free meals. The district will still need to collect what's called an alternative income form from our families to ensure that our local control funding formula isn't compromised. So before the free and reduced income forms were used to get that information, we will, since that is no longer a requirement for us to collect that data that way, we are going to still attempt to collect that data through the alternative income form. It's a district form. We have it through our online enrollment. We'll be working with the principals to get that information from our families. Just as you know, the local control funding formula, which is predicated on the amount of forms that we receive from verification of income, makes up over 2/3 of our general fund revenue. So it is a big deal for our students and the programs that we provide for our families and students. Thank you.
I've had the opportunity to meet with both the presidents of DSTA and CSEA to briefly discuss the recent Cal OSHA and CDPH face covering guidelines. We will continue, or I will continue, we will, to continue to work with our labor partners on any new COVID-19 guidelines. And that concludes my COVID-19 update.
Okay, thank you. Public comment on open session items. I'll turn it over to Linda Porras. Do you want to read some comments first, or do you want to do?
I can. Yeah, I can do.
Got it.
Is that the same?
Same thing.
Okay.
Are they the same?
I don't know.
That's probably new.
This is the one that Blanche gave me.
Yeah, they're the same. Just make sure you only read the yeses.
Oh, okay.
First read the
Okay. Communications from the floor in accordance with the bylaws of the board, number 9323, 62519, Time is reserved for oral communications by members of the Board of Education or by citizens present. Citizens wishing to be heard on agenda items shall have a 3-minute limit and should indicate their intention at this time. In accordance with the law, decisions of the board cannot be made on any matter not previously published before the board meeting, as indicated in bylaws of the board, number 9323.2, 62519. Public comments, July 20th, 2021. Rochelle Martinez. So DSUSD talks about the science for months on end. Now the science shows masks do not work, yet you still require our children to wear them in 115 plus degrees. I highly doubt any board member would perform such act. Or do pictures need to be documented to prove a point? I'm having a hard time understanding how our children can attend an indoor movie, multiple stores, go to Disneyland without masks, yet can't attend school without them. Stop hiding behind the fear of our children getting sick. Children's immune systems are stronger than ours, that's proven. Prior to COVID, they shared lice. I didn't see a requirement for all to wear hat nets or all miss school. They shared runny noses. I didn't see them all required to nose plugs. These requirements by DSUSD are beyond ridiculous. Let's see the board wear masks as you're demanding of our children. I 100% know you all take them off once entering the office and sit behind your desk at 75 degrees or less. Our children need facial recognition, the ability to see how words are enunciated, etc. The board has taken enough from our children, considering almost all or none of you have children in attendance because you are all in retirement age. Yet you continue to enjoy your new bonus and pay raises off my tax dollars because you refuse to end this nonsense. I polled my children once with hopes DSUSD would get their circus act together for 2021-2022. Yet I'm now asking myself, will I be pulling again? When will the abuse stop? Missy Manning. CRT and sexually or sexual preference has no place in the school. Also, it has been proven that masks do not work and kids are no threat to getting COVID. So why are you punishing them? You need to teach what has been taught for years: math, reading, spelling, American history, and world history. Stop this craziness. Patty Davis. There is no science behind masking of kids. Make it a choice, and parents are free to mask their children forever if they like. It should be a choice since it hampers children from seeing faces and hearing their teachers speak. Nothing positive comes out of masking a child for 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday for the school year. Mask choice is the humane way to treat children. Roxanne Munoz. We want DSUSD to stop critical race theory, CRT, in our public schools. We want every public school to open up completely, no mask. No public school teacher, school official deserves a raise if they are pushing CRT agenda and want our children to wear a mask to school. Tricia Ryan. Good evening. I am hopeful that the school board will direct DSUSD to spread the information regarding AB 104, which addresses the 2020-2021 school year and how students can get credit recovery or take additional classes to master the skills and education needed to be successful in their future. This information should have been available earlier this month for families. Counselors are on break, so are their email redirected to help these families. I personally have assisted some DSUSD students who have reached out to me after feeling forgotten. Juniors and seniors can get a grade change to a pass, no pass, or even add a 5th year, as well as adjustments for other students to have not met mastery. Again, I would love to see a directive to the district to please spread the information about AB 104. These kids so want to succeed, and many are very willing to do the hard work and not just be giving a passing grade, as they know they will that will not help them succeed at the university level or their desired career path. Next, can information please be shared on the district website regarding the required graduation requirements that were dropped this past spring and information regarding classes that are now being required? Many people travel in the summer, and it is disappointing that the recent meetings on July 14th were not available online. Thank you. And that's it. Okay. Okay, so Trina Gonzalez-Alisi, DSTA President.
Good evening, Cabinet and Board, members of the audience. I would first like to start off by welcoming Dr. Joe Hyde as our Assistant Superintendent of Personnel. As he mentioned, we've had an opportunity to meet a couple of times, and I'm just really looking forward to strengthening our collaborative, customer service-based approach in our relationship between the association and the district. So welcome, Dr. Hyde. As the representative of Desert Sands Teachers Association, I want to comment that the association stands beside the district in all of its decisions to follow the health and safety guidelines from the county and the state. Neither the association nor the district has the autonomy to make the decisions on health and safety guidelines. We rely on county offices and state offices of health to give us those guidelines. And I want to show support to the district on behalf of the association that we will abide by those health and safety guidelines, and I know that you will change them as soon as they get changed from the county and the state, and we will continue to update as they become available. Thank you.
Thank you, Trina. Nicholas Rose, CSEA Chapter President.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and members of cabinet. I also wanted to use my time to first say welcome to Dr. Hyde. This is an interesting first meeting to be a part of, so welcome to Desert Sands. I'm glad also that we've gotten to touch base, and I'm looking forward to working with you and the district's team as we get prepared to begin the 21-22 school year. It's an exciting time in California with the governor and the state legislature signing off on a historic budget bill and making the commitment to funding education, meals for students, as Mr. Aquino mentioned, and soon we're doing the planning for some universal TK for our 4-year-olds and kind of the staffing requirements that will entail. So it's exciting to think about how we can use these resources here at DSUSD to provide high-quality student services. I was also speaking with Dr. Charity Plaxton-Hennings earlier and telling her how impressed and thankful as a parent I was with the district's summer offerings. My son attended speech camp at DEC North, and he had a blast. He was excited every day to go, excited when we picked him up. So I also wanted to say thank you to all our certificated staff, and especially our classified bargaining unit staff, our paraeducators, bus drivers, office support staff, nutrition services, security, custodial and maintenance support staff, for committing your summer break time to our students. That after the challenging year we had, everyone is still going that extra mile to spend that time in the summer. As we approach August 18th and the return of students to 5 days per week of instruction, I'm looking forward to working with the district on our classified bargaining unit full contract reopener agreement. Collective bargaining is a special thing, and in coming together to discuss working conditions, salaries, and benefits, it allows our district to attract and retain hardworking, dedicated staff who are willing to go the extra mile for our students. COVID and the pandemic brought never-before-seen challenges to our district, but by working together, we were able to return to 4 days of instruction safely and successfully before the end of last school year. While current COVID guidance and the rules from the CDC and the California Department of Public Health are fluid, and some may disagree with them, it presents challenges for next school year. But when it comes to offering excellent student services, I know Desert Sands will rise to meet those challenges, and that together, we will provide the best educational experience for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexandria Jones. Catherine Silveria.
Good evening. Tonight you will hear a lot from a small but loud and angry portion of the community. I'm here today to be the voice of the other portion, those that are less vocal but are in the majority. I'm here to voice support of a curriculum that is racially inclusive, accurate, and not whitewashed. One that would allow our students the critical thinking and observational skills to see how this nation has grown, developed, misstepped, but can become greater. No matter what you call the curriculum, culturally responsive, or the dog whistle critical race theory, what it does is provide the hard truths of our nation and a pathway for change. The idea that this curriculum forces white people to feel guilty is absurd. The opposite is true. It depersonalizes decisions about racism. Instead of pointing fingers and blaming on individuals, students can all be on the same side looking at the bigger culprits. A legal system built during slavery, voting procedures crafted during Jim Crow. It empowers students to feel like there can be a solution if they can trace the problem to its sources: laws, philosophies, social norms. It lessens the desire to root out individual racists or assume the worst in everyone, because with this new understanding of history and civics, they can believe that individuals are doing their best but are operating in a flawed system. Here are some examples of learning how the past can improve our future. Educating future public servants about how, when GI benefits they excluded people of color. Educating future engineers on how interstates and highways were deliberately carved out to displace and tear apart communities of color, so past mistakes won't happen. Teaching future real estate agents about redlining and how Black community homes are statistically undervalued compared to white homes. Showing future healthcare workers that on one study, half of all medical students and residents believe that Black people couldn't feel the pain the same as white people, in hopes that we have a healthier community in the future. Teaching future citizens about genocides of indigenous cultures at our missions and residence schools, mistreatment at Japanese internment camps, and the destruction and hiding of remains of Black communities like those of Lake Lanier, Tulsa, and Seneca Village. Having our future read diverse literature like Dr. Cottom, Daisy Hernandez, and Tommy Orange creates empathy and understanding. Change never happens if we accept the status quo and ignore the past. Change starts with uncomfortable truths are exposed and people demand change. By giving our students this information of our nation's uncomfortable truths, coupled with critical thinking skills and the power of empathy, we can solve the problem and our nature's future is limitless. Dr. Mark Nason said, teaching this curriculum as a threat to public education is not only disingenuous, but is also creating an atmosphere of panic that will discourage instruction of Black history, Indigenous history, and the history of immigration in the U.S. Culturally responsive pedagogy is not critical race theory. Treating it as such will have profound destructive consequences. Do not give in to the hysteria and vaccinate. Thank you.
John Parker.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk. I was going to talk about race a little bit, but putting masks on children is child abuse. Now, I have another question. Are you going to vaccinate all the kids? Are you going to require that they're vaccinated to come to school? Are you going to answer? Somebody answer.
This is your 3 minutes. Say what you got to say.
Are the kids going to be vaccinated?
Wait.
Is that mandatory? Yeah, exactly. This is child abuse. You know, and separating the races. What do you hope to gain by separating the races? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. If you want to bring people together, why would you alienate half of the people in the country and say that you're, trying to work together and bring everybody together, and you're dividing them? And going back 100 years or 150 years or a couple hundred years and saying, well, we did this, we did that. Yeah, the country's made a whole bunch of mistakes. There's no doubt about it. But to keep focusing on that, you have to live life moving forward, not backwards. No, you're not learning anything by going back and just rubbing everybody's nose in what happened in the past. That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm really ashamed, I have to say. You know, I can't believe what I'm hearing. And what I can't believe is that people don't stand up, take your friggin' mask off. You know, you're teaching kids with a mask on. Please, you can't process and put that together how wrong that is? It's horrible. It's disgusting. I am embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself for going along with this lie. It's a lie. You've been brainwashed, people.
Ann Rock.
Well, I just want people to know that we are not in the minority. I know that the woke left radicals would like us to believe that because we live in California, we're in the minority. But we are still, conservatives are not a dirty word. And I think what you're doing with CRT, whatever you want to call it and however you want to put it on your website, is morally repugnant. And hopefully we're going to continue to shine a light on what you're actually doing, the fact that you're lying to parents and our children. For someone that has lived under socialist regime and lived under apartheid, this is just the beginning. We as parents did not agree to co-parent with you. We want teachers to do what they're hired to do, and that's teach the academics. We don't want to know about what you think, what your personal beliefs or politics are. We are the parents. We raised our children not to see color. All you're doing with this nonsense is taking us back 50 years. Yes, our country is not perfect. There isn't any country that's perfect. But trying to change our history because you don't like it, that's nonsense. And we're going to continue. It's kind of like we're already seeing kids tell us that their teachers are telling us that police are bad and that why are white people bad. What you're doing is just, it's morally repugnant. And the more you talk about race and how the color of our skin is the most important, you're the racist. And critical race theory is racist. What's more important, character beats color every day, and we don't care what color you are. What we care about is what are our children. You talk here about your academics, your elite academics, and what you think you're going to do for our kids. It won't mean anything in America if they don't grow up to be good human beings, and all you've done is learn how to segregate people. You're taking us back. You're not taking us forward. And you're doing things, I mean, you know it's wrong. You can't stand up. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're more concerned with your political view and you're standing in the community than standing for our kids. You don't care about our kids. You care more about yourselves.
Good evening. My name is Kenny Snell. I've been a teacher in the DSUSD for 25 years. I come to you tonight not as a union teacher. I no longer support the CTA. They do not talk for me, but rather a concerned voter. I am but one of a growing number you have yet to hear from. For you see, we have been pretty quiet and not that involved. We have been cautious in voicing our opinions out loud for fear that our neighbors and colleagues would see us through the false lens of the nation's media-driven narrative. We have been concerned that if our views were known, we would be a target for cancel culture, and we were not wrong. But we were learning that silence is acquiescence, that acquiescence is abject obedience, and that abject obedience is the antithesis to American freedom and the Constitution of the United States. The time to stand up and be heard has come. Over the course of the last 18 months, I've witnessed in horror this district has completely abdicated all critical thinking and logic to the media. This district and its schools are now seemingly run by news junkies at a time that our students need information junkies. It is imperative not to just read the news, but to practice inquiry, to delve to the original sources, both to ensure that there are actual sources and to discern for ourselves. For if we do not do that, we are nothing more than purveyors of propaganda. And by the way, a Rasmussen poll last week, a whopping 71% of Americans now believe the media is just that, propaganda at the behest of corruption. Before you decide to mask our kids again, here are some facts, and these are all primary sourced. The global overall survival rate for those under 70s of COVID-19 is 99.98%, on par with the seasonal flu. DHHS statistics show that 95% of COVID-19 deaths were not from COVID-19 only. This was changed on 1/23/21. Look it up. Kerry Mullis, the PCR inventor, Dr. Fauci, the WHO, and a French government study all agree that PCR tests with a cycle threshold over 35 is useless. They'll pull COVID from a rock, and yet all PCR tests in the USA have cycle thresholds of over 35. This resulted in a 97% false positivity rate, and people are not asymptomatic of anything. DHHS and VAERS data shows that under 18-year-olds are at the greatest risk to adverse vaccine reactions than the least susceptible to COVID. A 10 million person study in Wuhan, China, the point of origin for the virus showed not even a single transmission by an asymptomatic person. There are over 300 studies that show 11 cures, including hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, are cheaper, safer, and more effective than the vaccine. 92.7% of deaths during the Spanish flu were actually bacterial pneumonia, not a virus. Studies have shown masks, especially those with kids, are petri dishes of bacteria, and finally, more than 100,000 unvaccinated, untested migrants cross our borders every month. Thank you.
Brian Hawkins, and he is his minutes are for himself, Celeste, Fuller, Christine, Eisen, and Kimberly Hetherington. So 12 minutes, right? Sorry? Okay, Kimberly. So do you need 9 minutes or 12? I'll give you 9, and then you can.
No, we're not. He's going to get 9.
He'll get 9, and then, yeah. So, okay.
Can you guys hear me? All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So before I get started, I am Pastor Brian Hawkins. Before I get started, I want to say to the young lady in the red, I know, but even though we have opposing views, I don't want you to walk away feeling like you deserve to be attacked. And so, everybody deserves to be heard. And I respect your strength for getting up here. And we got to be better. We do. That's the only way we're going to be able to navigate through all of this, because it says troubled times. I brought my children with me. I'm a very, very active father. I'm also an elected official, but I didn't come in here at capacity. I'm a concerned parent. I'm a pastor, and I love history. Admiral Yamamoto once said, or exactly written in his diary, that all we have done, this was after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, right? December 5th, 1941. There was another battle that happened just shortly after that, the Battle of Midway. We don't talk about that too much, but it should be. But what he said, or what he wrote in his diary, is all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant. And what I want to preface this, and I hope you guys understand this, that I don't come here to, because I understand the situation that you guys are in as elected officials. You guys are elected, right? I believe so, right? The board, you guys are elected. One of the things I told Lieutenant Sheriff Chad Bianco when he was going through his campaign, I said, I want to help be a bridge between law enforcement and the community. That's something that I love calling myself, as a bridge, because that's what we need in society. And what I want to offer here today is that, because what's going to eventually come is individuals are going to start learning about ethnic studies, and they're going to come to understand what's really hidden inside of ethnic studies. And so I want to bring with you, because I had a chance to talk to some of your principals in your school district this past week and yesterday, and I grabbed a copy of the layout that you guys are going to be presenting. And in the media, they keep arguing and say, well, and even when I went to go to La Quinta High School, on the second or third page, it literally said, ethnic studies is not critical race theory. Unfortunately, many of the individuals that are saying that has never studied critical race theory to qualify that. One of the principals said that it's not intended to teach critical race theory. So I want to enlighten you, because eventually parents is going to come to understand that ethnic studies is the result of critical race theory. And I'll give you an example. When you look at number 12 item, you'll find a unique word in there called intersectionality, right? That's going to be one of your frameworks, one of your teachings. So let me give you, because all you got to do is Google this, and Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw is one of the key contributors to critical race theory. And the reason why I bring her name up is because she is the author and the framer of intersectionality. So this is what it says. It's a key critical race theory concept, intersectionality, which emphasizes that race can intersect with other identities, such as gender, class, to produce complex combinations of power and disadvantage. So to suggest that ethnic studies is not critical race theories, well, that's far from the truth. Because right in your own curriculum is the word intersectionality, which is, as it states right here, is a key concept. So let's go even further. Let's get a quote from Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw. Intersectionality draws attention to indivisibilities that exist in feminism and anti-racism and class politics. So obviously it takes a lot of work to constantly challenge ourselves to be attentive to the aspects of power that we do not ourselves experience. It's going to take a lot of courage to step out and say this is exactly what it is. And because it's been hijacked, because it's been pushed in the media, it's a very uncomfortable conversation. But to sit up here and play parents as though they're not intelligent is going to be the worst mistake that you can ever make. This is the time to really educate and bring parents in, because as she said, there's great history in knowing the key contributors. I was reading some of the parts of it that said they're going to be teaching Native American history from the tribes here in Coachella Valley. That's beautiful. Asian American history, that's beautiful. I hope they teach about the Chinese that were hung in America. I hope they teach about the whites that were hung during, slavery. I hope they teach all about history so we can all understand the fullness of it. And I don't think anybody is against that, but don't try to sugarcoat and say what it's not. Intersectionality is an analytic sensibility, a way of thinking about identities in relationship to power, originally articulated on the behalf of Black women. We got to stop fooling ourselves into believing that the parents aren't smart and that they don't deserve a say-so in this process. I'm every bit of the study of critical race theory. When I was sentenced to 6 years in prison for having a rental car 3 days late because of that 94 crime bill, and my daughter asked me, Dad, why aren't you mad at the police? When Sheriff Chad Bianco was sworn in, he asked me to come do the invocation. Dad, why aren't you angry? Why aren't you bitter? Why aren't you upset? I took my children on a trip across America last year, and they got a chance to see real history. I took them to Jamestown. I allowed them to look and stand on the auction block where blacks, my family actually owned 40 acres of land in Henderson, North Carolina, where we were slaves at. And I'm teaching my children not to be angry at white people, not to be mad at history, but to understand it. In the words of one of your principals, it said, if the wrong person teach this class, it can mess up a lot of students. That's a concern for me. If the wrong person, and right now, you got to be honest with yourself. The only people that are qualified to teach this class are totally biased. And if you don't think, God, this is going to sound so tough to say, but if you don't think black folks are prejudiced towards white people, you're fooling yourself. There's an anger out there, and society is feeding into that narrative. I grew up in the inner city. I know what it's like. I know the conversation that they're having at barbecues and salons. Some of them won't be honest enough to tell you, but they have been waiting. They're malicious. They're a group. It's not about communism. It's not about socialism. There's some folks that are really ready for anarchy in this country. Yes. It hurt my heart to see people burning the American flag on 4th of July. It hurt. I celebrated Juneteenth. I believe that there's a space in all of this for everybody to be equally respected. But I feel like politicians have stripped you guys for your real, true power of teaching children. I hate the fact that politicians force this on you. I hate the fact that they went right before Christmas and voted this in when everybody else was thinking about spending time with their family, and then force you to come and navigate. And a lot of parents don't know this, but this was forced on you. So that's why I don't want individuals to point this at you, because you're going to eventually need a shield one day. You're going to eventually need a bulletproof vest, because when it comes down on them, nobody knows who the teachers union, the president, they don't know what they look like. A lot of people don't know the CEO of Nike. They just know LeBron James. They just know the people that's out there. They're going to see you, and you guys are going to be the swords. You guys are going to have to fall on it. So when that happened, I want to come back and be a bulletproof vest, because I already know that you don't deserve some of the attacks that's coming your way or already have come your way. I come to build a bridge. I can see it already. I'm a pastor. I pray every night for each and every individual that's on both sides of the aisle, because this political thing is getting all the way out of hand. And now we're pushing this narrative that it's only dividing this country. But if you don't start being honest with parents, if you don't start being truthful and tell them, look, this is exactly what it is, this is exactly where it's coming from, this is the reason behind it, it's only going to get worse. And guess what? Some politicians are banking on this. Racism is a huge hustle, and there are a lot of individuals that are getting wealthy off of it. Ask Al Sharpton, ask Jesse Jackson. They are getting wealthy on it while you guys are here to live with the repercussions. God bless you guys, and thank you for your time.
This is a microphone. This is how you use it. Really helps to be in the audience and people can hear it. I publicly would like to request that a camera gets installed onto this podium. That should have been done, I don't know, sometime in the last 18 months when there was some time for some AV help. I'm here to talk about the medical mask exemptions, and I will be emailing these to you. I know there's a lot of legality to that. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination in places of public accommodation based on disability. It was intended to ensure that people living with disabilities have access to all of the same opportunities as those without disabilities. The ADA defines disability as a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more of the major life activities of such individual. A record of such an impairment or being regarded as having such an impairment under Title III, which is item 10 would be schools, public schools. And my son, once again, Noah Sanchez, should qualify under that, being a person with autism. No disregard to any of the pandemic and coronavirus. But a child with sensory processing disorder needs to see facial expression. They need it, they need it.
And your teachers needed the vaccines last year, and they got them. And I think it is within your power to vet for our children and to stop sending us, because I'm going. I'm going to the assemblymen. I'm speaking directly with them. I am trying to do what I can do, and I may not get loud about it as like I should. I'll go there when I absolutely have to, but you guys, as elected board members, sorry for you guys, but you know, you men and women need to fight for our children at the state level and with CDPH. Please urge mass choice and include liability release forms, because these children, they do have the right. And it's illegally mandating without having the proper documentation. Each child should be able to have that right to waive under mask exemption law. So there needs to be more transparency about this. It's very important. I really extremely urge you to do this for our children. You guys are the ones that are running the show here at the end of the day. It's not just the state level. You guys also have to fight for us as parents. Thank you.
Jerry Dawn.
Well, good evening, esteemed members of the board and wonderful ladies and gentlemen in the audience. I see men and women here. I don't see X, Y, Z's or W's or binaries or any of that crap, you know, so just welcome. My name's Jerry Dawn. I'm a disabled Vietnam veteran. I'm a licensed architect. I'm a licensed real estate agent. And I'm a patriot. I love this country. I'm not a racist, okay? Martin Luther King, his philosophy that all men should be known by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. Is that right? Okay. That's been thrown out the window. That's in the dumpster right now. That philosophy has been completely destroyed. I looked up the definition of theory, if you would just bear with me. Whoops. Okay, theory, Google it, dictionary. It's a supposition or a system of ideas intended to explain something. Critical race theory is a supposition trying to explain something. And what they're trying to explain is to manufacture racism, which in my opinion is a manufactured thing. Most people in here, I'm not a racist person. I don't have a racist bone in my body. You know, slaves were imported into this country when this country was colonies. They were brought here from England, okay? Our founding fathers were on a mission from God to form this country and declare independence from England. It took great work and effort by men of great character and faith in God to compose that Declaration of Independence and form this country. They could not abolish racism, or they could not abolish slavery before this country was formed. All of our founding fathers were opposed to slavery, and they worked hard to abolish slavery, and it was ended, okay? We fought the Civil War, the North and the South, at great cost of human life. Human life. I judge people on the color of their blood, not the color of their skin. Okay, there was great patriots. The Confederate Army lost about 125,000 men. The Union Army lost over 250,000 men fighting to defeat slavery. Okay, so let's get all that straight. It was a work in progress. Racism is alive and well. All this critical race theory is doing nothing but manufacturing a big lie and brainwashing young children into believing a fallacious, horrible idea. Just because I'm white doesn't mean that I'm a racist by virtue of the color of my skin. That's bullcrap. And you guys should not be teaching this stuff. That's all I got. Thank you.
On to board and superintendent comments. Anna Conover.
I have no comments.
Okay, Wendy Jonathan.
I have no comments.
Tricia Pierce.
No comment.
Linda Boris.
I have no comments tonight.
Well, gee, that got to me quickly. I have a few. You know, as I have said this a couple times before, the laws are made in Sacramento. They're passed down to us. We're going to follow them. If you want those changed, there's a lot of ways to get them changed. You can vote us out and you can vote other people out. And I don't believe we are going to teach critical race theory. We're going to teach ethnic studies, just like we've always taught. Hey, you know, I'm going to try to explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. And as parents, as we all are, I think the primary point is for us to teach our own children. And if you don't like how things are done, you can educate them at home. But again, we are going to teach the courses that we are mandated to teach in the best way we know how to teach them. You're right, it is. And because there's a lot of things wrong with it, and you can complain about it, but it doesn't seem you're doing anything about it. And so you ask me a couple of questions, and I try to give you a couple of answers. All you do is shout me down, so it doesn't really seem like you want to hear what I have to say. And so you're rude to people, and people that don't think like you don't treat them with dignity and respect. And so you want something from someone, and then all you do is condescending, sit in the back of the room, and throw pot shots at people. And that's not how to get anything accomplished. And that's why you won't get anything accomplished. We're going to be up here, and we're going to do the job that we're doing. Yeah, I'm looking at you, and you're looking at each other. But, you know, if you want to come out and make a statement, and you want to confront somebody, then after you ask them a question, at least have the dignity to listen to have their answer, which you don't. So, like I said, we're going to teach ethnic studies because that's what we're mandated to do, and we have people working together because California is rich and diverse and has a lot of different perspectives that we're going to teach, and we're going not to teach racism. If you want to interpret it that way, certainly you can do so, but we're not going to try to do it that way. And as a parent, if you think we're doing it wrong, after we've done it, come and tell us where you think we can improve it, instead of just telling us you want us to stop it. Okay, it's time to grow up and come to the plate with some answers and some suggestions instead of just condemnation. So thank you for coming and giving us your opinion, but you really haven't helped us. Okay, oh, Superintendent.
No comments at this time.
Okay. For the following 4 agenda items, the Board of Education will be acting as the legislative body for each of the Desert Sands School District Communities Facilities Districts. These agenda items provide for the individual CFDs to authorize the levy of special taxes within such CFD for the fiscal year 2021-2022. Agenda item number 18.1, the Board of Education will be acting as the legislative body of CFD number 1 for this agenda item. Resolution number 01-2021-2022, resolution of the Board of Education of the Desert Sands Unified School District acting as the legislative body of the Community Facilities District number 1 of the Desert Sands Unified School District, authorizing the levy of special taxes within the Community Facilities District number 1 for fiscal year 2021-2022. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Linda Porras.
By Linda Porras. Do I have a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
Seconded by... Okay, this is a roll call vote. Anna Conover.
Aye.
Wendy Jonathan.
Aye.
Tricia Pierce.
Aye.
Linda Porras. Don Griffith says aye. That carries 5-0. Agenda item number 18.2. The Board of Education will be acting as the legislative body of CFD number 2008-1 for this agenda item. Resolution number 02-2021-2022, resolution of the Board of Education as the Desert Sands Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of the Community Facilities District number 2008-1 of the Desert Sands Unified School District, authorizing the levy of special taxes within the Community Facilities District's number 2008-1 for fiscal year 2021-2022. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? By Linda Porras. Do I have a second?
Second by Tricia Pierce.
Discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Anna Conover?
Aye.
Wendy Jonathan?
Aye.
Tricia Pierce?
Aye.
Linda Porras?
Aye.
And Donald Griffith votes aye. That carries 5-0. Agenda item number 18.3. The Board of Education will be acting as the legislative body of CFD number 2013-1 for this agenda item. Resolution number 03-2021-2022, resolution of the Board of Education of the Desert Sands Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of Community Facilities District number 2013-1 of the Desert Sands Unified School District, authorizing the levy of special taxes within Community Facilities District number 2013-1 for fiscal year 2021-2022. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? By Linda Porras. Do I have a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
Seconded by Tricia Pierce. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Anna Conover?
Aye.
Wendy Jonathan?
Aye.
Tricia Pierce?
Aye.
Porras? Donald Griffith says aye. That motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 18.4. The Board of Education will be acting as the legislative body of CFD number 2018-1 for this agenda item. Resolution number 04-2021-2022, resolution of the Board of Education of Desert Sands Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of Community Facilities District number 2018-1 of the Desert Sands Unified School District, authorizing the levy of special taxes within the Community Facilities District number 2018-1 for the fiscal year 2021-2022. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? By Linda Porras. Do I have a second?
Second by Tricia Pierce.
Seconded by Tricia Pierce. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Anna Conover?
Aye.
Wendy Jonathan?
Aye.
Tricia Pierce?
Aye.
Aye. That carries 5-0. The matters related to CFDs number 1, number 2008-1, number 2013-1, and number 2018-1 are complete for this evening. The board will no longer be acting as the legislative body of the district's CFDs for the remaining items on the agenda. The board will now be acting as the Board of Education for Desert Sands Unified School District. So we'll move on to section 18.5 through 18.7. These are 3 items we can take individually or take as a group.
I move that we take them as a group, 18.5 to 18.7. Linda Porras.
Is there a second?
Second by Tricia Pierce.
Second. Is there any discussion on any of these 3 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. General function, education services, 19.1 to 19.8. We can take these individually or as a group.
Take them as a group, 19.1 to 19.8.
By Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second by Tricia Pierce.
Second by Tricia Pierce. Is there any discussion on any of these items?
I would like to say something. I actually inquired about this because I was concerned because, as I'm sure my colleagues know, the first time that they tried to pass the ethnic studies model, the program, it was riddled with anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. And as somebody of the Jewish faith, I found that very alarming. I reached out to our assistant superintendent, acting superintendent tonight, Kelly Mae Balmer, because I was concerned because there is a group called the Liberated Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum Institute. And they've been using, they're currently trying to sell versions of the state's rejected first draft of the ethnic studies program, which I found very alarming and very frightening. In fact, Hayward Unified School District has adopted that, and actually at their most recent training they had for their teachers, they were training them on anti-Zionistic tenets, which I found, again, very alarming. 6 million Jews were killed during the Holocaust. Anti-Semitism is at a high. There's a reason why Israel was created, because we couldn't find any haven. 900 Americans were on a boat that came to America to try to get amnesty. They were turned away by FDR. Of those, actually, it was like 926. 26 ended up getting off the boat, not in the United States. The remaining 900 went back to Germany and died in concentration camps. 20,000 Jews applied for amnesty to America during this time, during World War II. People might not be aware of this, and Congress actually voted no to do this. So I find it very alarming that I have a group that's doing that, but I have been assured by Kelly Mae Balmer, who I have incredible respect and trust and faith in her, and as well as Superintendent Bailey and the rest of my cabinet, that we will not be using that entity. That being said, I do think that we need to make sure that we keep an eye on what's being taught, because I do agree with somebody that spoke earlier, the pastor that spoke earlier, that said, depending on who's teaching it, it might go a different direction. And that's a big concern of mine. Again, as I said, anti-Semitism is at an all-time high. In fact, they're saying when college starts in the fall, it's probably going to be one of their biggest issues that they have in school. So I think that we need to be keeping an eye and monitoring it. But as my colleague, our president, Don Griffith, basically had said, we are bound by the state. We are a state entity, and the state is saying that we have to do ethnic studies. This is a provisional course. It's not a permanent class, and more importantly, nobody is being forced to take this, and it gives us our opportunity to monitor this class and make sure that we don't have some of the issues that I think some people are concerned about. And as I said, I for one will be watching this, only because I'm very concerned, because as I said, this is a frightening time for people of the Jewish faith in America and across the world. I want to assure everybody, and if Kelly, if you want to respond, I know that you've you emailed me back regarding some information.
Yeah, certainly, absolutely. So as Wendy Jonathan mentioned, we are not using that resource that she asked about. And really the focus of this ethnic studies course, it is a high school course, it's not a college course. And oftentimes what we see in ethnic studies, or what we know to be true of ethnic studies as it relates to critical race theory, is connected to what we see in college courses. And so the intention of this ethnic studies course is really to highlight and celebrate the contributions that are made throughout American history in an effort to better understand each other and better understand the great contributions that our country was built on.
Is there any other comments? I'll just address 19.8, which is the Introduction to Ethnic Studies as a provisional course. This is an optional course for high school students that will be a semester in length, not a year. It is not going to be a mandated requirement for anybody to take until the graduating class of 2030, correct?
That is still on the governor's desk and has not been signed. So right now it is not a mandated graduation requirement.
So it is with I don't want to say critical eye, it is with a careful observation that we will oversee this class, because as I said earlier, California has been a very diverse state, and there's a lot of things to learn other than the missions that we learn in 3rd or 4th grade. There's a lot of contributions from our local community. There's a lot of information about the Asian population that came over that actually was pretty much discriminated against up in Northern California, but then contributed greatly to the expansion of the railroads west. We used to be a part of Mexico. There's a rich culture from people from Mexico, Spanish and Indian history that we can learn about and we can be better for. And I think the people who obviously complain and then leave and don't want to hear anybody's answer will never be satisfied with what we produce because they don't want to hear what our answers are. And I know that is a struggle for our educational staff, and it will be a struggle to finding those teachers that will teach this in the way that we want it taught, so kids, our students, will learn about the rich history of California and what the contributions were for each of the different ethnicities that have participated in really making our state one of the great places to live in this country. And so I would have wanted to assure the people that were here complaining that we were going to keep an eye on this, but a lot of times, it's the people with the loudest voice have the smallest ears. And so we will do the best we can, and hopefully it will be a rewarding course for people to take.
And, I want to add very quickly that, they said that somebody, that we need to look be able to look at somebody and say that's a person, but we also have to recognize that person comes with history. And having a daughter-in-law who's Latinx, a sister-in-law who's Mexican, my nephew is in a very serious relationship with an Asian girl, and my niece is in a very serious relationship with a black person. And you have to look and say, wait a second, they have certain issues, or they had struggles sometimes when they were growing up. And even though we may look at that person and say we like them for who they are, we also have to recognize they are identified also by the color of their skin, or as in my case, my religion. I am not only Wendy, a person, but I'm also a Jewish person. So we have to respect that, and I think that it gives us an opportunity to understand each other just a little bit better, which will bring us, I hope, a little bit closer.
Any comments? Okay.
I think with this course as a provisional course and giving us time to evaluate it by the students, the parents, the teachers as the curriculum comes out and as it's taught, that it'll be a very valuable lesson on how we can, how the curriculum can be changed and written, especially to be relevant to our community and our our locality, so it's supposed to be relevant to the kids. And I see it, having grown up as an Army brat and moving to many different countries. I value that our kids get to see and learn about other cultures, and we definitely have it here in California. And I believe that is a true treasure to learn, and I think that this is very important. I think it should be taught, I know and I hope that it won't be taught in the way that other people are discussing about critical race theory, which is more of a college course for the older, more mature people, and also mostly that's aimed towards the teaching law and how the law affects many of those different races and ethnicities. So I look forward to listening in on and seeing how the course goes. I think some high schools are opening it up to, I know India is doing a freshman and a senior course, or anybody who wants to. Some place, one is doing a freshman, one is limiting it to seniors. Whatever it happens, the feedback we get from students and parents to hear from their kids on what they're talking about, and the teachers doing it with the right frame of mind and unbiased approach, that it can be a very valuable course to encourage us to not be divided, but yet come together.
Okay, without any further discussion, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. We'll move on to general function personnel services. We have 5 items, 20.1 to 20.5. We can take these individually as a group. Can I get a motion to take these individually or as a group?
Make a motion to take general function items 20.1 to 20.5 as a group.
Pierce, is there a second? Seconded by Linda Porras. Any discussion on these 5 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 5-0. General function student support services, we have 1 item, 20.1, addendum to the agreement for legal services with Best and Krieger LLP. Is there a motion to approve this item?
A motion to approve item general function student support services 21.1. Tricia Pierce.
Second, Linda Porras.
Seconded by Linda Porras. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 5-0. General function superintendent, we have 2 items, 22.1 to 22. Do we have a resolution? We do have a resolution. Okay, so we'll break these up. 22.1 resolution number 05, 2021-2022. Request to the state of California for expeditious revision of the face covering guidance from K through 12 schools. Is there a motion to approve this resolution? So moved by Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second by Tricia Pierce.
Seconded by Trish Pierce. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, this is something that Mr. Bailey worked on pretty diligently to get in front of us. This is the resolution that we're sending to our other leaders that says Desert Sands wants clarification on the mask orders, and we'd like the children to be able to not have masks. So we did a resolution. Mr. Bailey worked pretty hard on this with some other superintendents in the Riverside County area. So again, we're doing our best to get through this with the least amount of restrictions. Any other discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Anna Conover?
Aye.
Wendy Jonathan?
Aye.
Trish Pierce?
Aye.
Linda Porras?
Aye.
And Donald Griffith says aye, and so that resolution carries 5-0. 22.2, the certification of signatures. Is there a motion to approve the certification of signatures?
So moved by Tricia Pierce. I know. Tricia.
All right.
Second, Linda Porras.
Moved by Trish Pierce, seconded by Linda Porras. Any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Consent items, student matters. Dr. Mabel.
Thank you very much. Tonight in closed session, the board took action to approve the following student matter. Agenda item 23.1, reinstatement of student 18/19-103 on a motion made by Linda Porras and seconded by Tricia Pierce, carried with a vote of 5-0.
Move on to section 24, consent items, business services. We have 13 items here, 24.1 to 24.13. Is there a motion to take these individually or as a group?
Make a motion to take items, consent items for business services 24.1 through 24.13.
By Tricia Pierce. Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
Seconded by Linda Porras. Is there any discussion on any one of these 13 items?
I did have one question. Maybe Jordan knows. I know he knows. The certification of unused sites, I noticed, I'm not familiar with this. So we have 2 sites we own that could become schools in the future. And if you don't build on them within 5 years, you have to pay money to keep them like on hold, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's basically, I guess you could call it a penalty or a fee that we have to pay because a site hasn't been built on. So once it gets to a certain level, which is 5 years, then at that point we have to pay an unused fee to the state. But what we want to do is to maintain those sites. Land is very valuable, especially with the communities being built. So just a clarification on where those sites are. The unused sites, the 2 that we have, are across from Shadow Hills High School, and then the other one is on Young's Lane.
A little bit further, I know we've had these pieces of property for a while. The Young's Lane is in a pretty dense and tight area of residential that still has some vacant land around it that we think, or we used to think, that there was going to be some population growth there. And then the site that's by Shadow Hills, we purchased that when we did Shadow Hills and Desert Ridge, and our goal there has always been to make another K-12 hub like we have with La Quinta, Earhart, and John Glenn. And so even though we pay a little bit of penalty for those sites really are valuable to us, and I wouldn't want to give up, especially the site over by Shadow Hills, knowing that across the freeway it's going to, we're going to have some growth out there, and I would like to see that K-12 complex come to fruition.
I guess I don't even understand why they charge you a penalty, but anyway. Just sit there with it. Yeah. Right.
Do some things and we never get off the mark, but I think eventually we're going to be building on those sites. Any other discussion on those items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, 24.1 to 24.13, that carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to consent items, educational services. For some reason, I didn't add these up. So we have 25.1 to 25.19. Is there a motion to take 25.1 to 25.19 either as a group or individually? By Linda Porras, taking them as a group. Is there a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
Pierce, any discussion on any of these 19 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
5-0. Consent items, personnel services, there are none. Consent items, student support services, 27.1 to 27.15. Is there a motion to take these either individually or as a group?
I make a motion to take consent items, student support services, 27.1 to 27.15 as a group.
First by Trish Pierce. Is there a second? seconded by Linda Porras. Any discussion on any of these 15 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Okay, consent items, Superintendent, we have 3 items, 28.1 to 28.3. Is there a motion to take these either individually or as a group? By Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
Pierce, is there any discussion on any of these 3 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 5-0. Okay, personnel action certificated. We have. Are they blind?
They are.
Okay.
Okay.
Enlighten.
I'm going to let Dr. Hyde do that.
All right, good evening. I'm pleased to recommend the following appointments to administrative positions within our district. The first item is we are pleased to recommend the appointment of Fernando Rodriguez to the position of assistant principal at Amistad High School. And agenda item number 10 on page 2, we are pleased to recommend the appointment of Lisa McCall to the position of principal at Dr. Carrion Academy.
Okay, with those 2 blind items inserted, is there a motion to approve the personnel, or?
I think we may have 2 more items.
Oh, we have 2 more items.
Sorry about that. I should lump them all together. I'll go a little quicker. We are pleased to recommend the appointment of James Lister Looker to the position of assistant principal at Palm Desert Charter Middle School. And finally, we are pleased to recommend the appointment of James Santamaria to the position of prevention and intervention psychologist within the special ed division.
So with those 4 items, blind items identified, is there a motion to approve the personnel action certificated 29.1 to 29.4?
I don't, no. Just 29.1.
All right, but you know what? Rather be safe than sorry, so we're not doing it. So scratch that. Is there a motion to approve 29.1? That's Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
Pierce, any discussion?
Yes, we have only 1 person retiring in our district this time, and it comes from certificated, and it's Lydia Chico. She is retiring from Hoover Elementary as a teacher, and she was there for 8 years. Congratulations, Lydia.
Okay, any other discussions on 29.1? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 5-0. We'll move on to 29.2. Is there a motion to approve an amendment to the employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services?
So move, Linda Porras.
By Linda Porras.
Second, Tricia Pierce.
Aye.
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 29.3, amendment to the employment agreement of the Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved, Wendy Jonathan.
Wendy, you're too late. You want to second it?
Yeah.
Okay, moved by Linda Porras, seconded by Wendy Jonathan. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 29.4, amendment to the employment agreement for the Superintendent of Schools.
So moved, Wendy Jonathan. I know Linda's laughing. She thinks that's funny.
Okay, so that's been moved by Wendy Jonathan. Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
seconded by Linda Forrest.
Quick draw McGraw, Wendy.
Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Personnel actions classified. Is there a motion to approve the classified agenda? And we're going to do these separately. So is there a motion to approve section 30.1?
Make a motion. So moved, Tricia Pierce.
By Tricia
Seeing if
Pierce.
she's awake.
Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
Seconded by Linda Porras. Any discussion on these items? Other than we have nobody retiring from or classified? Yeah, I had to look through there. Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. 30.2, amendment to the Chief Business Official Assistant Superintendent salary schedule. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the salary schedule?
So moved, Wendy Jonathan.
Moved by Wendy Jonathan. Is there a second?
Second by Tricia Pierce. I gave her time. I think she left the meeting.
Discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 There she is.
Opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. 30.3, amendment to the employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved, Linda Porras.
Moved by Linda Porras. Is there a second?
Second, Wendy Jonathan.
Seconded by Wendy Jonathan. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 5-0. We don't have any call out for closed session.
We do not.
We do not.
There are none.
Thank you, Acting Superintendent,
You're
Dr.
very
Kelly May Volmer.
Great job. Great job, Kelly.
Okay, suggestions for future agendas that receive at least 3 votes. Anna Conover.
I have none.
Wendy Jonathan.
I have none.
Tricia Pierce.
I have none. What about that? What about that?
You want to leave it to me? Okay, so I think we should put on the agenda an update to the way we do our Friday letters and look into a program that has been discussed that might make it easier that some of the cities are using. And so if I can get 2 other people to join me, we will look at a revision to our Friday letter procedures.
I agree.
Okay, that's 3. That's good enough. All right. So, thank you, Acting Superintendent, for taking that. Okay, announcements. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. It's 7 p.m. in the District Education Center boardroom at 47950 Dune Palms Road, La Quinta, California. We are going to adjourn, but we are going to reconvene into closed session on one item that will not need a call out. Okay. So the meeting will be adjourned at 9:33. Excellent job. I'm so proud of you.
I had great coaching.